Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am joined by my brother, and you have probably guessed by the title of this video that we are going to be talking about my brother transitioning from being female to male. So if you want to hear about my brother's journey, stay tuned and keep on watching. I'm joined by my brother today.
Hello.
My brother is going to be answering some questions in relation to transitioning from my point of view, and questions I have come up with, and my brother has a few questions of his own to ask myself. So why don't we start off with what is transitioning? What is transgender?
Well, those are two very different questions, but we'll start with what transgender is when you have an incongruence with the gender you believe you are and your body, your physical sex. So in my case, I'm a boy up here but a girl everywhere else, and as transitioning works as so far in the progress of science, the easiest way to fix that is to change someone's body, not their brain. So what I hope to go through is medical transition, which is I will start testosterone, go through a male puberty, and hopefully one day get my breasts removed.
For those of you that don't know, my brother was actually born a female, so I had a little sister growing up, and then one day my brother came to me and decided to tell me that he wanted to become a male. My brother had changed his name from his birth name to a male name, Kai, and that is now what he is known as. So to everyone else who knew him as his female self, he is no longer that female self. He is now known as Kai, and he is in the process of having that legally changed to reflect that as his birth record. So yeah, for now, obviously he's currently in the position of having that changed. So unfortunately on your legal records you still have to go by your female name. But hopefully in the future, hopefully very shortly, he'll be permanently known as Kai.
I blame COVID.
As Kai. So alright, I've got some questions. Let's dive into them. I'm just going to pull them up on my phone. The first one is, what made you decide to transition to male, or why did you feel you wanted to transition?
Okay, to understand that, you have to understand when I realized I was actually a boy. Which, if we look back in the past, I was 6 when I figured this out. I went in the kitchen, I was standing talking to mom, or my mom, and then I said to mom, hey, I think I'm a boy, not a girl. And she goes, no you're not. And my immediate reaction was to run away crying. So little 6-year-old me knew before everyone else. But more recently, what has it been, 3 years now?
Yeah.
Year 10, early year 10. So 2019, we'll start with the preface. Late 2018, I came out at school as a lesbian, and that somehow got back to my parents. And then my mom didn't believe me. Not in the terms of like, no, you're not a lesbian. It's like, you're probably bisexual, is what she said. She was right. But then I realized that I don't look at girls the way that girls look at girls. And every time I had a crush on a boy, it'd be like, I want to be him. So early 2019, I was like, what does this mean? And a lot of Googling. And then I found out, oh, I can be a boy. And here we are now.
So for those of you that don't know, Kai and I have the same father but different mother. So we are half siblings instead of step siblings. I have a very strong relationship with my stepmom, hence the reason why I have a strong relationship with my younger brother and my other sibling that I have as well.
Because from my perspective, you feel like you're crazy or you're going insane, and then you Google it and you're like, oh, there are a lot more people like this.
Alright, so how did you feel about telling your parents and siblings that you wanted to transition?
I did a stupid thing. I decided to write my parents a letter and give it to them the night before they were going on a 2-week cruise. No chance to read it. And then I was freaking out for 2 weeks. Like, are they gonna kill me? Are they gonna kick me out? Like, because I had tested the waters, been like, oh, this is up in politics. Good, perfect timing. In America mostly, not really here. So I'd be like, oh, what's your opinion on this? And then one day Dad would be like, no. And my mom would be like, yeah, it's fine. And then another time I brought the same thing up. And my mom was like, no. And my dad was like, yeah, whatever. So I was like, this is not a great indicator. So I was shitting myself. But in terms of our other sibling, they figured it out before me, so... And I didn't actually tell this one.
No, so I found out through my stepmom. She told me, and then it was waiting for Kai to sort of confirm it. And once Kai confirmed it, and once I was told that he wanted to be now known as Kai, that from then on I started referring to him as Kai. So to everyone around me, I started saying I now have a brother. A lot of my friends were a bit confused. They were like, what do you mean you have a brother? Did someone give birth? Did they adopt? So explaining it to my friends was a little tricky. They were a bit like, oh, okay. They started to understand. But yeah, to everyone else now, whenever someone says, oh, do you have any siblings? I say, yeah, I've got one sister, one brother. And I don't even talk about him transitioning unless it's someone that I've known for a really long time that obviously knows about the situation. It's just not something that I feel needs to be spoken about to new people unless Kai feels comfortable with that. So unless Kai's comfortable with that, it's Kai's story to tell. And that's why I just refer to Kai as my brother going forward. 3, what do we have? So was there or is there anything that you are nervous about when it comes to transitioning?
I think currently the main thing is I'm on a giant ass waiting list. Cause here in Australia there is not a lot of resources. I think the main one is Victoria, and I'm lucky to live here. So the one we have is the Royal Children's Gender Clinic, because I just got into that one last year, even though I'm not eligible for it anymore. So what was the question again?
Is there anything that you're nervous about?
Oh, I'm nervous about the fact that I have to, one, I applied for the gender clinic, waited a year to find out they hadn't even received my papers yet, waited another 6 months to find out that they were doing an appointment, and that appointment was to tell me to wait another year. So I'm nervous about the fact that I'm hoping this appointment will actually lead to something. And I'm also nervous about the fact that there's a slight chance I won't actually be allowed medically to go on T. Because there's, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a certain thing in your blood, and if you've got too much of it, as a female, your reaction to testosterone could be deadly.
So do you want to explain to people who don't know what T is?
Well, as I said, it's testosterone, so the male hormone. So I produce way too much estrogen to be a boy. So I'm going to take testosterone to counteract that estrogen, and I will be taking it depending on what format. So it comes in injections, gel that I rub on my body, patches, and yeah, that's it. So depending on what form I take it, I could be taking it weekly, daily, monthly, for the rest of my life.
Is there anything you would like to tell people who are thinking of transitioning? So is there any advice or information you'd like to give people that are thinking of transitioning, that are in the process of transitioning? Is there anything you would like to tell them, send a message out to them?
Well, it's going to be separated into 2 groups. If you're under 18, I'm sorry, but there isn't much you can do, as I found out the hard way. But don't let that discourage you. I know it's hard, but patience is key. So if you're under 18, you gotta, depending on where in the world you are, and depending on whether you're in an accepting household or not, it depends on what you can and can't do. But if you're over 18, there's a lot of options out there for you. So depending on whether you're transitioning, like me, from female to male, male to female, to non-binary, which is kind of like an in-between of both, for those that don't know. If you're transitioning in any sort of way, the best place to start is your GP, because then they can lead you to different resources if you want to transition medically. So what I did was I went to my GP and asked, hey, I feel like a boy. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll send you to a therapist and the Royal Children's Gender Clinic. And here we are now.
Kai's gonna now take over and start with the questions.
First off, to preface this question specifically, when we were little, or she was still about my age and I was little, we used to beg my mom for a little brother. What does it now feel like having that little brother?
So, yeah, we grew up, I grew up here with my family in Melbourne before I moved to New South Wales, and it was my two sisters and I, is what I used to refer to.
The three girls.
Yeah, it was the three girls, and that's always what it was until Kai came out and said that he wanted to transition to a boy. To be honest, it didn't matter to me what gender you decided you wanted to be. To me, it was more that you were happy. So whether or not it's having a little sister or having a little brother, we still do the same things pretty much. We don't play dress ups as much. We don't put on makeup, that sort of stuff. But we still can go out and do fun things like outings and things like that are still the same. Playing video games, board games, card games, whether that's just as siblings or as a family, is still the same. So for me, I enjoy having a brother. It's still having a sibling, it's still having a friend. So yeah, it was a little bit interesting to get used to. Unfortunately, I'd call him by his birth name, obviously, as I was transitioning, just because obviously it was just not that I wanted to be disrespectful, but I was trying to get my head around obviously that, oh no, that's not what we're calling him anymore. We're calling him Kai. And so for myself, yeah, it was an adjustment, but no, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change anything. I really enjoy having a brother. I still can do the same things. I can still take him shopping for clothes. I can still go out.
She bought me these pants.
I can still go out for lunch. We can still go out and do outings and things like that. But it just means some of the girly things that I used to do, obviously growing up with him, are just sort of things that we don't do anymore. So yeah, that's the only difference. Everything still is the same. We still banter. We still butt heads at times. But yeah, we still love each other in that sibling way.
Yes. Is there anything that confused or confuses you?
In the beginning, I was not necessarily confused about you wanting to transition. I was more confused about, to be honest, and it sounds really silly, but it was more a confusion of, now which way do you sort of prefer your partners? Was it that you were transitioning to boy and you wanted to go and find a girlfriend? Or was it that you're transitioning to boy and you wanted to find a boyfriend? Or did you want to find both? Were you bisexual?
I mean, she knew at this time I'd come out as a lesbian.
Yeah. So for me, it was, now that you're transitioning to a boy, to male, it was, are you technically straight? Are you technically lesbian?
Well, that's off the table now.
Yeah. How did that sort of work? That was my questions that I sort of had.
It still confuses her fiance.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, my partner, Reynolds has also been quite highly involved, obviously. He's definitely part of the family, so yeah, he's obviously been part of this journey with me, and we were both a bit confused. Not that we cared, obviously we both wanted him to be happy, but for us they were the only questions we really had. In terms of the transitioning process, I had done some research and looked it up, and followed some people on social media that obviously are big name people like Gigi Gorgeous, who has transitioned to female from male, so I sort of understood how the process worked. So yeah, the only thing we were a bit was how do you see yourself, and the other thing was, do you even see yourself having a partner? Some people prefer not to, so it was just which way sort of thing.
To clarify, I'm bisexual and polyamorous.
So do you want to explain what polyamorous is?
It's where I'm okay with, as long as there is like complete communication, dating multiple people. Or if my partner wants to date someone else.
Yeah, so polyamorous is a bit like an open relationship. So obviously if Kai found a partner, he would, as long as that partner was okay, would date either other people himself or let his partner date other people, or both.
But there has to be 100% communication, or that is still cheating.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously that takes a lot of trust in a polyamorous relationship.
And final question, do you have any advice for family or friends of someone transitioning?
The advice I would probably give is to just listen, don't jump to conclusion, don't think you know what they're going through. Just be there to be someone they can vent to, they can talk to, they can ask questions to you when they've got questions about things and they've read info and they're like, oh, I'm still not sure. And just be supportive. That's the biggest thing. I think that's one of the biggest things, is you can't solve this for them. You can't change how they feel. And there is no point saying to them, no, you've got to stay the gender that you're born with, or I don't approve of you changing to another gender, or giving them a hard time for wanting to change. I think that is one of the biggest things that I sort of took away from this journey so far, is just being an older sibling. And when Kai would say to me, oh, I like boys clothing and I like this shirt, or I like these pair of pants, just being supportive, like being as normal as I would if Kai was female, and being like, yes, they look good together, or helping him choose outfits for certain things, or just being happy that he was happy, and giving him the support that he needs from an older sibling, to obviously feel like he could be himself, because this is a part of who he is. He has come and said to us that obviously he's more comfortable being a male, and so obviously to put him down or to make him feel uncomfortable, especially from family, is not what you want. So just be a shoulder for them to cry on, laugh on, be there when they need it. For me, obviously the last year with COVID, I've been in New South Wales where I reside, so it's been a little bit harder. It's been a lot of social media and FaceTime and Snapchats and things like that. But yeah, when you're around, just spend time. Don't make it awkward. Don't bring up things in front of people that you would never bring up things, and just be respectful. Like anyone, you want to respect them just as much as you'd like them to respect yourself. So just remember, they're also a human being. Kai is still my sibling. He's still going to be a part of my life. He's my brother now. And just remember that, yes, siblings argue, siblings fight, but just remember, don't go throwing things about transitioning and things like that in their face when you fight. Don't use that against them to make them feel bad. And that was one of the biggest things I think that obviously I was very conscious of, is making sure that, yes, I am fighting with Kai, but I'm not fighting with him because he's my brother. I'm fighting with him because he's a sibling. Doesn't matter what gender he is, we would always butt heads at times. And that's what I need to remember, is don't go throwing that he's transitioning or that he's wanting to transition or that he wants to have surgery or the way he looks or things like that in his face, because that can be very hurtful, and that can be more hurtful than what you're actually arguing about 9 times out of 10.
I have experience with that from our father, but yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. It's nice to be able to put Kai's story out there and let people know what Kai has gone through. It is obviously a journey that will be in progress. Yeah. So for everyone watching, I'll have linked in the description below some links to just some information that will help, as well as I will have linked Kai's YouTube channel and his Instagram. So if you'd like to message him, or you want some advice, or you just want to say hey, jump on over to his social media. Don't be shy. Obviously it's a learning curve for everyone. We're still learning. I'm still learning as an older sibling.
I'm still learning. I'm doing it.
So yeah, don't be afraid. Jump on over to Kai's social media and feel free to hit him up, follow him, send him a like, send him some love. From a sibling's perspective, I'll be posting my side every little bit. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. Stay safe and see you guys soon.
Ciao.